you guys get to ask us questions, particularly to what you guys got, anything you're just working on, you need to know. How many of you guys understand what wholesaling is? Well, better question. How many don't understand what wholesaling real estate is? Couple. Okay, cool. You want to tackle that? What wholesaling real estate is?
Yes. Well, wholesaling real estate is basically what you are doing. I'm going to give an example. And you're looking for motivated sellers. You're not looking for people, you're not looking for houses on sale, you're looking for houses for sale. So someone who needs to sell, not someone who wants to sell, but someone who needs to sell. So essentially with wholesaling, just to give a better example, I'm going to use some even numbers. Let's say if a house is worth $100,000, you will then, but someone contacted you and say, hey, I inherited this house and I have to get rid of it. My family is over here and we don't want nothing to do with this house, it's bad memories. So at that particular point, you will then contract that house for $50,000. But you know that house is worth $100,000. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
But you know that house is worth $100,000. So you will then you'll meet with the seller, put a contract on that property, and then you will call Max, because you know Max is a buyer in Winston Salem. And you will say, hey Max, I want to sell this house for $60,000. Max goes look at the house. Max say, well, okay, these are his numbers. And he say, hey, the house might need 10 or 15,000 worth of work. It's worth 100. I can do 60. So you would then assign that contract to Max.
So you never purchase it?
You never purchase it. You're not using none of your money, no credit, no one's running your credit, and none of your own money. And you don't have to talk to any banks involved. You would then assign that contract to Max. At that particular point, you should have two sheets of paper, a contract with the seller, and an assignment with Max. And you will then send that to the attorney. And by you sending that to the attorney will then start a title search. And on the day of closing, Max will then wire in $60,000 plus closing costs, and the seller will come and sign their docs. Now, the seller will then get their $50,000 they agreed to, and you will pick up a check for $10,000 for selling that contract to Max.
Essentially, you just wholesale it with no money, no credit. That's essentially how I guess all of us got in this business. Chris is from Richmond. He's been in the business, what, 12 years now as well?
12 years.
12 years. He's had a successful business. He became a millionaire at 24 years old. And he's still rocking and rolling. New builds. What's the most constructions you had going on at one time?
The most was 24 at one time. I don't suggest that to anybody.
So 24 new builds, 24 properties being constructed at the same time. So you're kind of scaling back from that, obviously preparing for whatever's going to happen.
Sure.
And doing a lot more wholesaling.
Correct. Yeah, doing more wholesaling. Doing a lot of wholesaling right now. Enjoy wholesaling a lot. So I've kind of shifted my focus out of heavy construction projects into more wholesale opportunities.
Perfect. So I hope that answered everybody at least what wholesaling is. There's some simple videos I do put up online that talk about none of the real granular. Basically, you get something under contract, and within that contracted period, you have what we call equitable interest. And once you have equitable interest in that property, you can sell that interest with a contract, another contract called an assignment, and somebody else will pay you for that assignment that that contract that you have, because it's worth more to them in that particular person. So wholesaling is the way how I became financially independent. I'm assuming you too, and then
Absolutely.
yeah, and obviously you as well too. And then we got there. And then as you get into wholesaling, you start doing more things, buying wholes, apartment complexes, stuff like that. You start purchasing them, and then you get to be known in the real estate community, and you start to get money given to you.
That's correct.
Start do the right thing.
Do the right thing like Spike Lee?
Yeah. So at this time, I guess we'll just open it up to questions. Don't be shy. Ask any question. No question is a dumb question, and we'll try our best to answer the questions as possible.
All right, front row.
And how many gentlemen in short sales?
Short sales. He asked how familiar we are with short sales.
I've done a lot of short sales.
Yeah.
What specific?
I got a house that this lady wants to sell me. She owes $18K to the USDA, that USDA type loan, and then she pulled money out with SunTrust for $59. She wants to get rid of the house. USDA want all that money because they're in first position,
Sure.
and she want to short sell the rest of it. And I'm trying to figure out how to make it work.
So is there a second position?
The SunTrust is the second position.
Yeah, so I mean, so typically what you do is you negotiate with the first position, right, which is USDA, right? And they're going to give you an amount that they're willing to pay to the second position holder, which in this case would be SunTrust. So you got to start a short sale situation with USDA and figure out what they're willing to commit to that second lien holder. And they have to give you a number because if it goes to foreclosure, then the second position gets nothing.
But you're saying what is the property worth?
The property is worth about
Current condition?
current condition, like 80.
80?
Yeah, it's in great condition.
So you said there's a 49 and then a 19?
18 and 59.
How much
Second
is that?
position, that's like 80, something like that.
So it's possible, but then you're also giving, what's gonna happen, the process is that you're gonna start negotiating. And I would recommend reaching out to somebody that just does it. So the short sale queen, the ssqueen.com, that's all she does. She doesn't even charge you. She makes her money because she works with the bank. So the best thing to do is just say, hey, look, I want to buy this property. And then she's going to say, give me an offer with this property you're trying to do. But if you're saying it's worth 80 and they owe 80, so in real life it's actually worth more.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're going to have a hard time. The bank might say, we'll take a little bit less, but more likely they'll say, is she defaulting?
Oh yeah, she's like 3 years old.
3 years?
Yeah, and they haven't foreclosed on
You see that sometimes.
Yeah, I know.
That was my first question. I was like, they haven't foreclosed.
Usually, maybe it's not worth 80 then, because they would have taken back the asset if it was worth at least what they had. Yeah, but they didn't take back the asset because it was like, it's not worth what you owe us.
But when I researched it on like the register of deeds, a new trustee has been assigned. So I think it may be going from SunTrust to somebody else.
People buy unperforming assets all the time.
Yeah, so you want to see if the debt's been sold. Right, so, like Max just said, somebody can own the debt today and then sell it to somebody else can be served.
I can buy the debt.
Right.
I got you. Like a note. Like,
Yeah, I can just buy it. I can buy out first position and sell second position and go kick rocks.
and I guess that's kind of one of the things too. Is like, well, if the USDA get paid off, I mean, SunTrust kind of in the hole if and then another thing too, she owed back taxes, and here's a tax deed state, so they could essentially sell it for the $2,700 that she owed to Guilford County.
Yes, they take much longer than that though,
A lot longer.
and they're not going to do it for $2,700.
Yeah.
Especially if a bank is sitting in first position. They don't want to ruin those relationships. But reach out to the SS Queen, like I said, the ssqueen.com. It's free, costs you nothing. Who else has got a question? Y'all know Antoine? He usually comes down here. A lot of y'all are new. Antoine just drove down from DC. He also has, they was late. But yeah, he's up for DC. He also has a wholesaling business, does a lot of things virtually, which means that his team, your entire team, is in the Philippines.
Exactly.
Yeah. So he's going to answer some questions as well. Probably got stuff on this side. There you go.
I think my guy right here had a question.
Yes, so can you talk, this is for any of you, can you talk more about opportunity zones and how one would go about identifying an opportunity zone?
All right, so the opportunity zones are new and it's just came in this year, right? So in no way am I going to say I'm a master of it or I know a lot about it because I was under the assumption the way the internet presented that, hey, we can just buy in these places that the government consider opportunity zones, and if you hold it for 10 plus years, you can potentially sell it eventually with no capital gains by paying no taxes. And so most of us up here, we get really big tax bills. So it was very interesting. So I reached out to my tax strategist, and she explained to me, in order to take advantage of that, you already have to have an asset. You have to sell that asset, and the capital gains from that asset, you then can buy in opportunity zones with that money. And there has to be a certain structure of that too. Like the paperwork has to be done correctly. It's not like, hey, I just, when it comes to tax time, hey, well, what I did was I sold that property, I didn't use any money, I just put it onto the property. No, there's some structure that has to be done with some business entities. So it's not as simple as people on the internet make it, present it to look. It's more complex, and when the law was made, it was essentially made to take care of the wealthy. Reason being, you already have to have assets that you sell, and those assets could include real estate, stocks, I believe metals, not sure, but however, any certain asset classes, you sell those, and you can use that potential money to buy into opportunity zones. Anybody else want to have that?
Well, I was just gonna, they have maps online that you can pull up that shows you whether or not a property you're looking at is in an opportunity zone or not. So definitely check that out. But so somebody has to start an opportunity zone fund, right, for you to get involved in that?
Doesn't have to be a fund.
Doesn't?
No.
So I may be wrong in that. But so I've looked into it myself, like for properties that I'm looking at, and I'm looking at working with an opportunity zone fund versus trying to figure it out myself, because it's new, it's complex.
So I went to Newark, New Jersey, and I was a part of the Forbes Summit for opportunity zones. And what I can say about opportunity zones is that there's so much unclarity in the law that rich people are uncertain. So they're not doing anything. So how opportunity zones came about, Sean Parker, who is the creator of Napster, how many of you guys are old enough to know what Napster is? Right, so Napster, and also the first president of Facebook, him and his rich friends were in Africa one day, and they were saying, hey, look, if I can take out money and sell things such as my stocks, right? He wanted to cash out some of his Facebook stock, and also he owns Spotify. So he wanted to cash those things out, and he said, if I didn't have to pay taxes on those, I would invest in the things in what they call impact investing. So that means is that you're investing for an impact in the community. Right? So he hit up Cory Booker, he hit up Lindsey Graham out of South Carolina, I believe, right? Mm-hmm. And they created the bill, and it pushed through and passed through Congress. So essentially what it's supposed to do is that if they can, whenever they sell these, right, because a lot of these guys got Facebook stock and all these other things for absolutely nothing, right? They were just there. So if they sell their $200 million in stock, they're going to pay $100 million in capital gains probably by the time it's all said and done. So they're saying if I didn't have to pay that taxes, then I can impact the community, and the government doesn't have to spend that same money improving the community. I can do it for myself, right? And essentially what it is if they invest money into opportunity zones, which you can find online through a map in whatever state you are. I think, I forget how many there are, I think it's 8,200 opportunity zones, something like that. But the point is that they would be able to invest into that. It's real. At the end of the day, it's real new. Nobody's doing nothing. I was there with Prudential. I was there with a bunch of other huge funds. And these companies already have money that they set aside to invest in simply what they call impact investing. So I don't know if opportunity zones will ever really take off. My prediction is that they won't.
Yeah, and just buying in an opportunity zone, parking money in an opportunity zone just because, I don't really think is wise. Because, yeah, just owning real estate and, any backwoods city, and there's no plan for redevelopment throughout the city with jobs and stuff, it's a possibility, and I'm quite sure everyone up here has seen it, whereas somebody bought a house 20 years ago for $40,000, and fast forward, that house is still worth $40,000 due to it's depressed in that area. So, you know, you definitely want to do some more research and talk to a tax strategist, because I went to a meeting and there was a guy charging people $5,000 to get everything set up correctly. Because if it's not set up correctly,
It don't work.
it don't work. However, it was a guy there setting it for $5,000, you know, and it's like, yo, come on, dude. And so I reached out to my tax strategist, and she better explained it to me. And I realized that I had to sell off some stuff to get involved, and I didn't want to do that.
Next question. Yes, sir.
I'm trying to get some deals. I'm wanting to go after probate, and I wanted to go after foreclosures. Probates, I understand, you go to the courthouse and try to look up documents.
Yeah.
Like in Forsyth County, what do you specifically say when you go in the courthouse so you don't get the runaround?
Yeah, so let me say about a year and a half ago, when I was actually going to the courthouse, you can actually walk into the room. But since I said I do that, people have messed that up. So unless you know people, you're not getting back there. So now you can ask for particular files if you know that they are in there. One way that we used to do it is, and when they changed the geodata, the GIS to this new crappy system we got now, you used to can just type in heirs. Because how they used to do the properties, they used to say such and such heirs.
I still do that.
So what happened is you could still search by that, but they removed 90% of the heirs' names from, they removed the word heirs from a lot of it.
The trick is to go to the bill search and type in errors in there.
See, and that's what I call being obsessed. And that's a good thing, because that's how I became so ninja when it came to the probate process. Was to be able to find things. And there's a lot of information that you can find online, right? A lot. So once you do that, print out those files, and you can request about 5 or 6 files at a time. Take your necessary pictures of the documents that you need, and then give them back the files and ask for 5 more. Once you get to know them, then they'll let you back there. I can still walk back there.
There's the foreclosures. How do you get to the top for understanding where they come from instead of going to Zillow and saying,
yeah, that's the last place you want to go to. So,
Let me say this on probates too, though. Check out our website. It's called foreclosuresdaily.com.
okay,
So I did a lot of digging into probates, and I'm not a guy that wants to go down to the courthouse. And
so ours is still on paper.
so ours is too. So in Virginia, right? I'm in Virginia. You've got to I think it's $400 a month to get the online court system. So Foreclosures Daily will give you every week that your courthouse updates. It will give you a list of the fresh probates.
Perfect.
Without having to go down. You got to make sure they service whatever your area is.
Yeah, that means they manually have a person.
Yeah, they actually is going into the courthouse and going in there.
Yeah.
what were you saying about trying to get those foreclosures?
I'm gonna give you a tip, right? So read the North Carolina General Statute on how the foreclosure process has to go. And once you read that, it plainly tells you the first step of the process. And it has to deal with a substitute trustee. You know what I'm saying? So once that substitute trustee, the substitute trustee must file a piece of paper prior to actually even requesting a hearing of a foreclosure. That's the first place it enters into public information.
Some advice was to go to an attorney that's doing the,
It
doesn't work?
Yeah, because here's what happens. Even if you go to that attorney still has to file that paperwork. So the number one is Ingrel, what is it, Ingrel? Some attorney, it's a big attorney here. Then they're in Charlotte actually, but they do a lot of the foreclosures. They have to file a piece of paperwork with the clerk. Essentially what happens is the mortgage company assigns a new trustee. That trustee is a local attorney that's going to handle the paperwork from here on out to start the foreclosure and end the foreclosure process. So once the bank calls the attorney and says, hey, we're going to go ahead and do foreclosure, they have to file a piece of paperwork with the county. It's right in front of your face. But you got to go find it.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
It's okay to determine the ARV of a property by price per square feet if you don't find a comp that is that big of your house, that the house that you got in comps are smaller than the one that you got on the contract?
Okay, so the question was, is it okay to comp a house by price per square foot if you don't find a comparable comp? I'm going to go ahead and say yes. But in the example you said, I believe that you mentioned that your house that you're going after, it may be bigger than the rest of the house. Is that correct?
Yeah.
All right, if you have the biggest house in the neighborhood, what I do, and he's a way better rehabber than I was, but one of the things, what I do, I discount square footage, okay? So if everything, so let's say if a house, 1,000 square feet, right? And it goes for $100 a square foot, right? And help me out, guys, I had a 1.8 GPA in high school. $100 times 1,000, what's that? There we go, see? You guys are paying attention. Thank you. You guys are paying attention. All right, so 100,000, right? But my house is 2,000 square foot. Well, what I know from having the biggest house in the neighborhood, I got to discount that house. I can't go by $100 a square foot. I might have to discount as low as like 80 or 90 a square foot because mine is bigger. So, and you learn this as you get more experience, that having the biggest house in the neighborhood is only good for you when you own it and live in it, not when you're going to sell.
Right.
Yeah.
That was going to be my advice. Don't ever have the biggest house in a neighborhood when you're trying to do a rehab. You're just going to have a hard time trying to nail down your value.
I'm trying to wholesale with it. I mean, the house is like just 500 square foot more than the comps that I have.
Yeah, just discount the square footage. But if you're just wholesaling it, me personally, I don't give ARVs out. I just send it out. Whatever ARV I give, they're gonna argue me down. And I don't wanna argue about that. I don't wanna talk about that. Do you want the deal or not?
Because you can send out 120 ARV when he thinks it's 160. You think he gonna call you and say, that's 160 ARV? No.
Nah, he wants to get the deal, right? And I use a plus or minus of 20% on square feet. So whatever your square footage is, 500 isn't really a big range in terms of like being bigger than, you know, the other comps. So I use a plus or minus of 20% anytime I make a comp range. So you take the square footage of your property, you know, you multiply that by 20%, and you plus and minus that. So subtract it, add it, that's your range that you use to create your comps.
Next question.
Yes.
So I got a question for you guys. So Max, I've heard you talk about this a lot on like programs and just, and I'm lost on programs with like, it seems like you use like 100 of them. Okay, so I don't want to like, I'm not up to your level, I don't need 100 grand a month or anything.
Yeah.
10 grand a month. What program should I start using?
Deal Machine and PropStream. That's the only two I would recommend. And if you don't have that budget, just use Deal Machine.
Deal Machine and what was the other?
PropStream.
PropStream?
Just go to maxpropertydata.com.
I'm curious to hear what Antoine has on that, because he's like the app king.
Yeah, he got that. He got it. That's how you got that.
Shit, 10 grand a month?
That's how you got that.
Why you limit yourself to 10 grand a month?
I'm just starting.
He was a realtor.
Yeah, I used to be a realtor.
Give a break.
Because one deal could be 10 grand, one deal could be 15 grand.
I'm at that level where I could like Max, like I said, I used to be a broker and I did pretty good at that.
Yeah.
And I used to be a broker doing about 35 million a year. And 2009 happened and I survived that. 2011 I crashed. So, I mean, you know, I know how deals work. I know how to chase the deals. I got no problem with that. I got no problem talking and negotiating. My thing, like as a realtor, we had top producer. I lived off a top producer. I loved it. But you know, it did everything. It was one program. It had that and MLS. I mean, you could go like attack the world.
Yeah.
And this wholesaling, it seems like there's not really a program yet defined like top producer. And I don't.
We're building it.
I don't want paralysis analysis where I'm sitting behind a computer like piecing things together.
Well, here's this. Since you only want to do one deal a month, right? 10 grand, let's say that's your lifestyle you want to live. What marketing method are you most comfortable with?
Face to face, door knocking.
Well, you don't need any app for that.
Yeah.
You really don't.
I say just pull free foreclosures, and since you're still a realtor, right? So yeah, so pull free foreclosures, go door knock. If you can't help them with the wholesale side, offer to list it to them or offer to do a short sale.
Don't you guys have some rules with speaking of
I
foreclosure?
mean, I don't have, I mean, I still have a license.
But you're not active.
I'm not active.
Good, okay. Yeah, I mean, if,
I'd say like target down like your hot zip codes for your area, and then I would figure out what neighborhoods I really want to attack pretty heavily. And if you're good at door knocking and closing people face to face, like make a zone, like create a scale of where you want to be. Target that down to a couple different neighborhoods and just go start door knocking. I like his idea of, if it makes sense to turn it into a listing opportunity, you still have that ability to be able to do that, right? So that's some opportunity to make some money, get to that $10,000 goal. If you see a way to create that into a wholesale deal, you can do that also.
What do you guys use for contact managers and stuff?
You mean like a client relationship manager, like a
It's like
CRM?
if I go out here and I knock on doors and I get like a couple hundred people, I'm
Sure.
not gonna be like having little sticky notes all over my vehicle and like, oh, I forgot to call that guy
You
back.
know what I use.
Yeah. All right. So that's a great question, and there are 1,000 different contact managers out there, aka a CRM. If nobody ever worked in sales, pretty much a CRM is a customer relationship management. Is how you basically keep your leads in one place and keep them on. Just keep them in one place, and when you spoke to who, who's who. So there, especially now in the real estate investment space, there's a broad array of different products. You have to find one that works for you. I use Podio, and the Podio space I got is customized to fit my business. And CJ might use something, Antoine might use something else, and Max might use something. But
Yeah, I use Podio too. There's a ton of different Podio setups though.
a ton of different ones.
You're looking for something that's like more simple and basic, you know what I mean? If you're only trying to stick to, when you say like 100 people, you don't need like a big Podio setup to try to manage that.
I mean, I don't think it'll take long to load like 1,000 people in there and then.
I mean, you can get something out the box like a freedom solve. Eventually you'll grow out of it, but
Yeah.
right now that'll work. You can send out contracts, you can text message to it. It's a basic generic, something for somebody new, so that's what I would go with if I was you.
Like, so just something simple, Podio.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Check out Freedom Soft too, like you said.
Freedom Soft. I recommend that for anybody that's brand new that don't want the complexity of Podio, because you got a lot of apps you got to pay for to support Podio and integrations and Globee Flow, and it can get real expensive.
Podio can be confusing when you first start out too.
Yeah.
Very
It's
confusing.
a lot to it.
That's why I said Freedom Soft. It does everything for you.
Yeah, I like Freedom Soft. It's user friendly. I would definitely check
Yeah,
that.
you
I don't know
got-
what the cost is.
You
I
got
forgot I had it when I first started. I think it was like $100 a month.
Yeah, you got Freedom Soft, you got REI Black Book, you can Google CRMs if you want to just simplify everything. I mean, my first CRM, it was like $10 a month. All you have to do is Google CRM or customer relationship
Yeah,
management software.
it's a bunch of them out there.
Yes, it's 1,000 of them, but now they have a lot more that they customize just for real estate investors, and it's a lot of them out there. Somebody had their hand up on this side. With the white hat, stand up. There you go. What's your question?
So I'm from the Orange County area. That's a big Airbnb market.
Orange County what?
Orange County, North Carolina.
Chapel, okay.
Yes, college, a lot of college immigration from Chapel.
I was like, California, he came from California. I was like, oh my God, Massachusetts is so important.
I was doing some research and it said that the Airbnb market in North Carolina is about to get regulated in January. And I was just kind of wondering what if y'all had any thoughts on that. It would be good.
All right, so it's kind of funny you said that because I have multiple group chats with just real estate investors, and I put that in there.
You not put it in our group chat.
I think I did. I really did. You were late. So, you just don't pay attention.
All right, fair.
All right. With that being said, locally in Charlotte, which is we have a large tourist crowd that comes through Charlotte. Got the NASCAR Hall of Fame. We got Concord Mills. We have the only Neiman Marcus in North and South Carolina.
got the Hornets, Panthers.
We got the Hornets. We got the Panthers, etc. Right. So
Nobody going to see them. Nobody flying in for the Hornets though.
So we have all these things, and of course you have people that sell Airbnb with games, tickets to the Hornets and Panthers, whatever. But anyway, So 2 people were killed in that downtown area recently within the last 2 or 3 months in the same area facility, all in Airbnbs. One where they're saying the drug deal going bad and something else, argument, and they got killed in both situations. I believe in one or both situations, the person leasing it out, wasn't supposed to be subleasing that. So, and earlier in the year, some kids threw a party, some high school kids, and they ran the paper apparently, and this is genius if you're like 17 or 18, because you have to have a credit card. This is genius. You rent out an Airbnb, and then you throw a party and invite all your friends to come over. Well, apparently somebody did this, and unfortunately somebody got killed due to a dispute, and somebody took out a gun and killed somebody. Somebody lost their life.
At 17?
Yeah, 17, 18, yeah, man, sad, man. So, the outside counties of Charlotte are now talking about regulating. I don't know if it's going to come down to state level. I think it's a county by county type of thing. And so it's a county outside of Mecklenburg County. What they put forth is to not allow short-term rentals. It's the term that they use, not allow short-term rentals. And other cities that did it, basically what they'll put in the language, if you have you are not allowed to rent to a guest staying 30 days or less, is how they frame it. So yes, that's something very realistic and something that you should prepare for. And if you follow Max's stuff, you bought right, so you have multiple options to get out of that property if that does happen. But unfortunately, you have people who buy specifically on the Airbnb numbers and they pay a little more. Right. Yeah, those people they're probably going to get hurt, unfortunately.
Yeah, I would never. I mean, I like Airbnb as a business model. I'm not like super high on it for my own personal business, but my advice would certainly be, like, don't buy based on what you think you can do on Airbnb. You can make good money and that's cool, but like stay true to like true rental numbers. And just look at like whatever you get extra on Airbnb, like consider it a bonus. And then when the regulation happens or these different things come up, now you're still making positive cash flow, right? It may not be what you were getting on Airbnb, but you're still making good money, and still buy, based on appreciation, things of that nature, and I think you'll be fine.
The city of Raleigh is actually saying that they have this written up that you cannot Airbnb a home that's not your primary residence. So City of Raleigh starting that, Durham is supposed to get on board, and then Chapel Hill is getting on board as well. So
Virginia's working on something similar to that.
So they're making sure that people cannot Airbnb their homes, and they want people to be permitted, so you have to go through a full process, and they'll be combing the Airbnb listings to make sure that people are not posting stuff and they have not went through the proper channels, because the city of Raleigh is preparing themselves for the stadium that's supposed to come into the Raleigh area. So they're making sure that they can create that tax bill for themselves and not have people who are just buying property strictly for the purpose of having Airbnb. So it's something that's coming down the pipe.
Yeah, in Richmond they're talking about like making where you gotta get licensed to be an Airbnb operator.
Yeah, a lot of this, I used to work in the hotel industry, so a lot of this lobbyists from like Marriott and stuff. Like Airbnb got more room nights than all the hotels combined together right now. So they working with the politicians to shake us down. But I always tell people, don't invest long term into trends. Like Airbnb gonna come and go. But the one thing that's gonna stay around is people that actually need places to stay and rent a room or a house. So just, like Chris said, critique your model too, that if Airbnb folds today or tomorrow, you won't get hurt.
Correct. All right, we're gonna go to the right side of the room now. Somebody had a question on the right side of the room. It's a green shirt? Yes, there you go. What's your question?
So I got a question. I just kind of moved down to this area. I'm actually from LA, so you were trying to say.
Oh, okay, cool.
So I'm looking to get into that, the whole wholesale business. I'm primarily a buy and hold investor, but now I'm just getting in. What would you say would be the best way to start making this, this transition? Because this is how this is why I came out here.
All right, so that's a great question, but I'm gonna let these gentlemen. Do you follow him on Instagram?
I just heard about you today.
Okay, so follow the real Maxwell, and Is the 30-day challenge still going on?
Yeah, I think we're at day 21.
Yeah, so he has a 30-day challenge, whereas he's giving you literally step by step in every tool that you need to get your first deal at 30 days or within 30 days or a little bit after. But I'm gonna let these guys tap on that one. Let you talk more about that if you want to.
Yeah, so the main thing you have to do, especially since you're new to the area, what I would recommend is obviously find the hottest places where you need to be, right? So the hottest zip codes. I have a video on YouTube about that. Once you find those hottest zip codes, you need to get in your car and you need to drive those streets. And anything you see that looks abandoned or distressed, high grass, falling gutters, things like that. And you want to use that app called Deal Machine and take a picture of those properties and add them to your database. Now, if it's not in your budget to send those with postcards, then you just need to go online onto your computer and then just download that list. And you need to be making phone calls to those people. And that's the simple, basic way. And if you do that at enough pace and enough volume, you're going to land a deal. It's just part of it. You know, we were talking about that last night.
Absolutely.
What part of LA are you coming from?
Long Beach.
Long Beach. Yeah.
Long Beach. All right.
So you came out here just for real estate, or you have something else you're doing?
I have like multiple things here, but I've met a lot of different real estate investors from bigger pockets. I don't know if anybody.
Yeah.
I was on episode 116.
I was on that. I don't know what episode.
Yeah. So I've met a lot of different real estate investors in LA. All my real estate that I have is in Houston, Texas. But when I got to talking with them, a lot of them started off here in North Carolina or Memphis, Tennessee or so forth, and then they grew their business so large, and they came to LA, and then they went into the large multifamily properties. Is what it seems to be just a normal process that everybody was going into. So I was just kind of repeating what I saw, and I said, hey, let me give it a shot, come out this way, and then start growing my business and go from here.
Is the end goal multifamily, it sounds like?
Absolutely.
So I'm going to give you some advice that I use like for myself for the past 12 years. I've done every part of real estate, apartments, down to single family, right? I encourage every single person to never turn off your own marketing system. It will carry you through every phase of real estate investing. If you're doing apartments, if you're trying to do commercial, mixed use, if you're doing single family, whatever it is that you're trying to do, right? Any marketing strategy, or deal strategy, whether it's Airbnb, if it's owner finance, lease option, whatever it is, always, always, always maintain your own marketing systems. So like if you jump into that 30-day challenge and start to implement some of those things, it's gonna help you start hitting the ground running. And as you start to build those systems, you keep your rental business going, right? You do some wholesale deals for cash flow, things of that nature, and then you just segue into these different verticals of real estate. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and when I first got started, there literally was no Max Maxwell around, or the real Max Maxwell, or whatever he calls himself these days. But he literally, that's why I wanted to give him this question. Like, you just watch these videos each day, he literally breaks it down. Like, it's everything that you need so that you can get your deal to that first wholesale deal. Who here wants to wholesale with the intent to leave their job? Okay. Yeah, majority of the room.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so, and
But the reality, what's that real number? It's 10,000 or less a month.
yes,
So you just need to do this one time.
one time a month.
One time a month.
Yes.
And my average deal here is about 13,000. So you need to do it less than, you need a half a deal a month.
Yeah, literally, literally. So the point of me saying is, if you don't have an Instagram page, just start one and just follow him. You know what I mean? And just get that information and just get to it, to get to that first deal. And you're new, there's a learning curve. It's gonna be hard. You know, you're gonna be lonely. There's gonna be days that you don't wanna do it, but do it anyway. Just think about the end goal. With me, my motivation was, when I was 26 years old, I was in this call center making $12.50 an hour, and I was looking up at people 10 years, 15 years my senior, saying to myself, nah, bro, not me, bro. I ain't
Carried out on stretchers.
Yeah, I didn't go to college for this. You know what I mean?
That's with the college degree.
That's with a college degree.
$1250.
$1250 with a college degree, dog. And for a Fortune 500 company. You know, basically all I got to say was I work for this Fortune 500 company. You know, and I did leverage that to get women. You know, so it kind of worked.
But that was it. That was the pickup line.
That was the pickup line, man. And you know, but once these women see my car, you know what I mean? I ain't worried. It was a wrap. You know what I mean? What you do over there? Oh, I'm the janitor. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, yeah, man. More of the story. You want to stay focused, and you want to, you know, definitely follow his content and just.
We both put out content, by the way. I put out content because I seen him put out content.
But
he just stopped.
His is better than mine.
He stopped.
He tries to be humble, right? But we all know his stuff is better than mine, you know? Who's at my, I know you were at my meetup last night, Andre. You came to my meetup, I think. And somebody else in the back here.
The magician.
The magician in the back.
The magician. Oh, he got the cards. So,
long story.
Long story short. Anyway, but yes, thanks for everybody that came out to my meetup last night. I mentioned this guy's name, and it was literally packed out the door. Unfortunately, so many people did not get to go in, come inside, and so many people waited outside to get the message. But Max is a great guy. He has great content. However, back to your question, man. That's great. You have a goal. You beginning with the end in mind. But for that first deal, just if you can go to his Instagram page.
Keep it real simple.
Keep it real simple as possible, man. This stuff works and is life changing. Yeah, I'm born and raised in northern New Jersey. Shout out to Elizabeth, New Jersey. Have a very high cost of living. People ask me, "Yo, you ever gonna come back?" No. What am I gonna do that for? 6 inches of snow, everything's still going. Mm-hmm. Nah, I'm not dealing with that. I go to Charlotte. Hopefully I can get, eventually, hopefully within the next 1 year or two, I can get Max and his team down to suite at the Hornets. You know, or at the Panthers, something, you know, get them out, enjoy themselves, you know, treat them nice things. Man, bro, first of all, you go to a Giants game, it's about $60 to park.
That's how it is at FedEx Field.
Yep. And there's
it's $4 for Sunday though.
But the parking's still 50.
Yeah, that's true.
And you don't have an option. Like, it's off the highway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I can't, it's not like I can say, no, I'm gonna park across the street at Bojangles, give me some chicken, and I'm gonna walk to the damn thing. Nah, you can't do that. You surrounded by highway, so you literally have to give them $60. And the price of tickets to see a team that is losing horribly, it's just insane. But anyway, what we were trying to say is that once you like the cost of living in North Carolina makes things so comfortable, you know, the South in general, you know, I just don't see myself leaving Charlotte. I'm open to going further down south. However, just going to these high cost of living places is not something that's not in my first.
Yeah, it don't make sense.
Yeah.
But back to the question at hand, you know, just take it a step at a time, bro. And welcome to the area, man. And you follow this guy's step-by-step program that's free on his Instagram.
Pop, come on in.
You can get your deal.
So, I'm gonna show y'all what the ending goal is.
Come on, Pop.
Hey, Mr. Robinson, come in here. This guy's like the guru around here. The unknown guru. He's got well over 200 properties. Don't tell him I told him.
Pop got it.
What's going on, Mr. Robinson? No. We coming this way.
Come on, Pop. You want this chair?
I came in here to be in attendance.
That never happens when you come.
Nah, you gotta put it on tonight.
This is the man who told me the word wholesaling, and then from there I ran with it. So he's my daily mentor. You know, when things get frustrated, I give him a call, so on and so forth. He helps me out in times when things get rough. Hey, Miss Pam. That's his wife, Miss Pam. So
come on down. Price is right.
So yeah, let's go to the next question.
Let's go on this side. You with the white hat. Let's go.
This isn't really wholesale based, but it's about trying to grow the business. And I think one of my man said he uses virtual assistants, and I was about to try to.
What's up, brother? How you doing?
Go that same route.
About the virtual assistants?
Yeah.
Man, the virtual assistants changed my life, brother. Like, even when I was down today, I looked on Facebook, I'm like, damn, when I post this? They marketing for me, they doing everything for me. So like, once you understand and know what you're trying to accomplish, you can pretty much train anybody to do anything. As long as they got a working computer and a telephone, man, you can go to the moon with virtual assistants.
Do you recommend somebody getting a virtual assistant before they do the first deal?
That's a split question, but I give my honest answer. Most people gonna kind of look at me crazy. Yes, if you have the money, you have the financial capabilities. Yes, because a virtual assistant, if you actually look at it, it's nothing more than another piece of marketing tool. So would you spend $3,000 on direct mail or a list or skip tracing? Take that same mindset, energy, and invest in a VA, and they'll get you way more leads. I got a virtual assistant right now who run my text messaging, and man, we've been getting leads out there for the past 2 weeks because of her.
Tell me something, Richmond.
I got you.
Yeah, so I mean,
we take DC right now.
Here's what you gotta understand. There's no wrong answer to this business. He is heavily invested into virtual assistants. I as well have 4. They were my first 4 employees actually. But I don't recommend getting a VA before you get your first deal. And that's just because it's unless you do have the money to just go with already trained VAs. But because if you don't know what you're doing, you can't train chaos.
Right.
Right? So how are you gonna hire somebody and you don't even know how to do it yourself? It's like buying a floor cleaning business and you buy the whole machine and you go hire an employee and you say, all right, you clean the carpets. And he gonna be like, how? He'll be like, I don't know, I just bought it, you figure it out.
I said that on my
Your business
Facebook.
is never gonna take off.
I said on my Facebook the other day, you can't scale chaos. You know, so many people come to me trying to do what I'm doing, and I'm like, it's a process to this, guys. Work with me, and I'll show you what to do, but you need at least 6 to 8 months to get the results that I got. At least, if you ain't got time for that or the financial packing or capability, don't waste your time.
Yeah,
and have those processes documented. You know, whether you get somebody before you do your first deal, you get somebody, you know, after you've done a couple deals. When you get somebody on your team, make sure you can explain the processes to them so they can step into that role with strength and actually go help you in your business and be supportive.
Yeah. So let me touch on something real quick. We hang out a lot. You'll create your circle as well once you get into this business. There was a video that came out today. And it was out of Atlanta.
We're gonna go there.
Yeah, we're gonna go all the way there.
What video? I was driving one day.
And what happened was a news crew went undercover into a meeting like this, and they heard somebody teaching how to wholesale, and they met up with, and basically a team or somebody bought a property for $95 and turned around and sold it the same day for $130. Now, obviously, you know it's the news, so they portrayed in a way where they said they were taking advantage of an elderly person. You know, as one of the front runners and front leaders in this industry, I feel like it's a responsibility of mine to talk about the ethics and what we actually really do. We solve problems. I mean, that's it. And if there's not a problem to solve, then move on. Right? There's actually truly people out here. There's never been a time that I've purchased a house in one day and sold it the same day and felt guilty about it. So if you even slightly feel guilty about what you're doing, then you're doing something wrong. Right? A lot of times we still get calls from people that we've helped that are in sticky situations and we were their only option. What I tell sellers a lot is I always give them all their other options. There's many times where I've walked into a house where somebody does not know the process of foreclosure and they were ready to give me the whole entire house because they got a letter from the county or a letter from the bank saying that I'm about to lose my house and they thought it was happening tomorrow. But you have to do the ethical thing. And one way that I always say, would you do this to your grandmother or your mother? And if the answer is yes, then do it. If not, don't. We all want to make a lot of money, but I promise you there is a very ethical way of doing this business. We need to find people that need help or find properties that are distressed. And there's so much more situations in this business where people need help versus where they don't. I mean, we both deal with people that inherit property. Absolutely. A lot. Inherit property that has been completely, no maintenance has been done to it. There's so many different situations that you don't need to do anything unethical to make this business work. Because here is the true story. If we don't do this right, if we don't police ourselves, they will police us for us. And the reality is, whether you're black or white, whether you have a lot of money or you don't, there is racism and there is classism. And when the people at the top of the food chain, no matter what color they are, don't want the people at the bottom of the food chain coming up because they have less and less employees, it's not a good situation. And what we've done over the last 3 years is create a lot of independent, wealthy people.
Absolutely.
And if we do not do this ethically, then somebody will shut this down. I mean, in the state of Illinois, they already passed a law that you can't buy a property and sell it no more than one a year without being a licensed realtor. Now, do I believe that will change and somebody will challenge it in the Supreme Court of Illinois? Yes, I do. But as of now, essentially, you can't be you can't wholesale unless you're also a broker in the state of Illinois.
I think it's important too that, like with the upswing in the market over the last, 6 to 8 years, what's kind of happened is, like when I started 12 years ago, wholesaling was the bottom of the totem pole, right? You got into wholesaling as quickly as possible, get out of it, and do some other shit, right? That's why I got into flipping houses so fast. Or you try to get into rental so fast. You just start wholesaling because you don't have any money, right? That was 12 years ago. Wholesaling now, because the economy has been strong for a while, has become a place where people are actually making a lot of money.
More than flippers.
More than flippers,
landlords.
right? More than landlords. And so what's happened is, while it may still be at the bottom of the totem pole, it's now become a threat. And so what Max is saying is you have investors who are developers who work with millions and millions of dollars, right? Or you have large scale home builders and production builders, things of that nature. And so they have the power, the money and the influence to band together and create organizations that then go influence the way that these laws work. And as wholesalers, this is an unregulated industry, we don't have that. And so the concern is when you have people who work in unethical space, it makes us all look bad at the bottom of the totem pole. And so what happens is we end up shooting ourselves in the foot. So my encouragement is, one, obviously, as individuals, run your business the right way, treat people the right way. You know in your gut when you're working with a homeowner, you're doing something you shouldn't be doing, don't do it. If you see somebody else that's in this business that you have a relationship with, that's doing something of the same nature, have a conversation with them. It's our responsibility to help each other out. This is a business where a lot of people are getting into it, and we're new. We don't know a lot of different things. You gotta have conversations the same way we get together and we talk about these things and try to figure out solutions. You guys gotta create your network and do a lot of the same things. Because as this business grows and wholesaling becomes more of a well-known piece of real estate, not the hidden bottom of the totem pole, nobody talks about it kind of thing, regulation is gonna come, issues are gonna start to become created. And if we're not working the right way and on the same page, we're gonna all take money out of our own pockets.
Yeah. So with that being said, I'll do a video on this, and I'm really trying to work with my team and trying to figure out the best way to make a video about the ethical way of doing this business. But make that part of your training as well too, that there's definitely an ethical way about it. But
yeah, one thing I do when I'm dealing with a senior citizen, I ask them, do they have any kids I can talk to? If they don't have any children, a sister, brother, a family member who I can, talk to and let them know what's going on to make sure that it's okay that she is doing what she's doing, which is selling me the house. He or she, I do it with just the elderly. You definitely want to protect the elderly in this business. So, I just try to do the right thing. I don't put profits before people,
Right.
That's one thing that I do, and I strongly recommend you guys, just talk, just think about the ethics things. Like you said, would you do this to your grandmother, your grandfather, just put yourself in that situation. It's literally prime neighborhoods, whereas I heard the story that the person gave me, and I said, why are you selling the house? And it's like, I said, I don't think you should sell, I think you should stay here. I'm sincerely mean that, don't sell me the house. And I walked away from the deal because at that time it was the right thing to do at that time. So, you just want to use just want to be ethical in the situation. But unfortunately, you can be ethical
And make a lot of money.
Yeah, you can be ethical and definitely making a lot of money. However, you know, it only takes one time to slip up. And just try not to slip up, because when people see that, they point the finger at everybody.
And if you have a question, if a seller is competent in terms of like being able to sell you a piece of property, get with your real estate attorney, have your real estate attorney have a conversation with that seller, and have that attorney make a determination whether or not that person is fit to sign a contract.
Right, because dementia is a real thing.
Yeah.
And the average property owner that's gonna sell their house is over the age of 55.
Right.
So you guys gotta understand, we are facing a crisis right now. Mental health is a real thing. So we gotta be responsible and say, hey, this person is not competent enough to make this decision. Me and my wife went into a house like 3 months ago, and the guy had sticky notes all on the wall. And he kept asking me, hey, you wanna see the living room again? I'm like, what? And then me and LaShawn looked at each other and said, we're not gonna do this. So right then and there in our company, we said we're not buying from anybody that we think that has some type of Alzheimer's or dementia, because at the end of the day, that's a crisis that's going on right now.
Yeah.
Big thing, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So, Mr. Robinson, go ahead. Yeah, I invited you the first time.
Yeah, come on, get a chair. Where's the chair for Papa Tony? Bring that chair.
Now you can sit right here.
Hey, I just want to say one thing real quick, guys. I've been in this business 23 years, okay? Multi-millionaire in this business, and you can make a lot of money in this business. But what I want to tell you guys, because I've worked here in this state from 2002 through 2014, working with our Attorney General's office here, North Carolina Bar Association, and the Consumer Protection Agency. And that was in regards to almost everything we do in real estate. Lease options, subject to, foreclosure rescue. And so what I wanted to just bring to your attention is that one of the things, if you ever hear me speak about anything, I tell folks that when you get in business, the expectation is that you understand and you know the business. Uh-oh, and I'm sorry, and nobody ever told me that doesn't get you anything. Everybody follow me? So you have to educate yourself and continuously educate yourself. Find someone that knows something. Everybody on Facebook and YouTube ain't for you. Listen to what I'm saying. Because everybody don't know what the heck they're talking about. People that did 1 or 2 deals out here running around, parading themselves around as gurus. Okay, don't know jack. And you got the blind leading the blind. So be willing, you're in a business that you can make a lot of money. Spend some of that money and find somebody that can teach you something to keep you out of trouble. Everybody in here probably has played Monopoly before, correct? If you've seen me before on probably on Max's YouTube section or whatever, then I'm always equating what we do to like playing Monopoly in real life. If you never played Monopoly before, and you went to Walmart and you bought you a Monopoly board, and you took that thing home and you opened up the box, first thing you gotta do is pull the rule book out and learn the darn rules. Once you learn the rules, you can play the game. Okay? I don't care what rules they change. Once you learn the rules, you can play the game. Most of us get in this business and we never learn the darn rules. Or we learn the rules on the fly. And I can tell you, like I said earlier, you know, you can make a lot of money in this business. You can lose everything in this business very quickly. And I don't want to put, I deal with a lot of folks. I was just telling some of Max and some of the guys today that, I'm working with some folks right now that have some serious lawsuits against them. Okay? Serious lawsuits against them. Okay? When I'm talking about you, now you start talking about your personal stuff. And so it's important that when you get in this business, if you don't have a company, that you get a company as well. Right. You don't want to be doing this business personally. And you want to form a legitimate company and have all the things that companies are required to have. Which means if you don't know what the heck you're doing, you don't just go on the Secretary of State's website and start downloading stuff and then think you got a company next week and you don't have all the things that companies need. Operating agreements, meeting minutes, bank accounts, and all this other good stuff that some of us guys, we get out here and start doing stuff and we don't know what the heck we're doing. So the only thing I just want to impress upon you is learning during business, because I'm going to tell you what, if it was up to our Attorney General, Roy Cooper, I've been dealing with them for a long time, this room would be empty right now if you didn't have a license, okay? Excuse me, our governor, Josh Stein, is the Attorney General. If it was up to those 2 folks, none of y'all would be in this room right now if you didn't have a real estate license. That's coming firsthand with me face to face with these people for over 10 years, talking to them and speaking before our House and legislative body in North Carolina as well as in Washington, D.C. So what I'm trying to tell you is learn it, try to learn every aspect of the business that you can, learn the rules, learn how, learn how to work within the rules and play the game at full tilt. That's my 2 cents.
There we go, Papa Tony.
There you go. So I want to switch this around because we got enough time for a few more questions. I want to ask you guys some questions. What are the biggest struggles you guys are having right now? Raise your hand and say your answer. Right there.
Not being sure about my contract.
Not being sure about your contract? Okay. Okay. So have you ever done a deal?
I have.
Okay. Have you found a closing attorney that you're going to work with?
I haven't been there yet, but I'm sure
What county are you in?
Alamance.
Alamance. So you need to probably go to like a RIA or go online and ask, because do you know any other wholesalers in your area?
Right, yes.
Ask them what contract they use. Done.
That's literally how I got my first contract.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah, just say, hey, what do you use? Can you email it to me? It's free.
I actually got mine off of the Facebook group.
Yeah.
But there's so many people that...
Yeah. So what you want to find is somebody that's actually doing deals in your area and say, hey, do you mind if you send me a copy of your blank contract?
Right.
That's it.
Nigga say you.
Yeah.
If you go to realestateguru.com, I finally got it fixed after 5 years. So yeah, if you go to realestateguru.com, Duru's D-O-R-U. If you opt in and put your email in, you'll get my free contracts. I close deals every month in Mecklenburg, in the Metro Charlotte area. So I close deals every month. I use that contract. So the contract is good.
It's free.
And it's free.
Just got to give you email.
That's
there you
it.
go.
Totally free.
Yeah. So what other struggles are you guys having? You in the back, sir.
Getting consistent leads.
Getting consistent leads.
Consistent good leads where I guess they have pain points or whatever.
Oh, I like that question.
Yeah. So if you want to go bass fishing, right? What lake are you going to go to?
Lake's got bass.
Probably a lake with bass in it, right? So where are you getting your leads from? Okay, so have you done any procurement of leads yourself?
Yeah. Well, I think you may have answered it yesterday because I was doing most of the tax delinquents. Then I started trying to do the prop screen and I was going after the vacant absentee. And I realized that the vacant absentee people, they want to get an offer, but
they want retail.
Right.
So you're chasing shiny stuff. Maybe you heard me say prop stream and you ran and got it, right? Yeah. Cancel it. You don't need it. Right? You need to find a place where you can go get some consistent leads. And if you're saying taxes is what you want to be good in, then be good in taxes. Don't shy away from it. Right? And you're saying you want to get consistent. Well, we talked about the numbers and the KPIs yesterday, right? So if you want to be consistent, go get more of those tax leads. And then eventually you're going to find a group of people that do need your help. And what we're talking about for taxes that people don't know is one pain point. Since we are problem solvers, we look for people that have delinquent taxes on their property. One, I like that because delinquent taxes usually means they don't have a mortgage.
Right.
Right? So that means they own the house free and clear, and not paying your yearly taxes. Taxes is fairly cheap in North Carolina. So not paying your yearly taxes means you have some type of financial distress. And if you can't afford your yearly taxes, then you probably can't afford a lot more else. Right? So we're going to just make a friendly call to them and see if they're interested in receiving a cash offer on that property.
Yeah, tax delinquent list is a really good list. You got to make sure you're dialing that list in though. So, there could be somebody that owes $500 in back taxes. I don't know if that's your ideal motivated seller. So you got to figure out do you want to target somebody that's at least 3 years tax delinquent on that list, that owes a balance above $5,000? That's probably going to have a little bit more motivation than somebody that owes $500 and the taxes were due 3 weeks ago. You know what I mean? So make sure you're pinning that list down and targeting it. Consistency is just between your ears.
Yeah, so he's right. If you want at least, in North Carolina, do at least 2 years of taxes, right? Because I own a few properties and I'm probably at least 1 year behind right now. When were taxes due,
I got a
Ms.
few
Robinson?
behind. Yeah. I got a couple.
I'm
I got
still
a couple
good, right? So
sitting behind.
there's probably an outstanding bill on something, right? And if you hit me, that's only 1 year. I'm only gonna let it hit 1 year. So you wanna make sure that at least 2 years worth of delinquent taxes because they're gonna show a pattern that they haven't paid. 3 is even better, but 2 is a good start. What about somebody else? What is your problems you're having?
I mean, obviously I'm starting out, so what about finding the investors? Or would you say find the deals first?
Yeah.
Or would you say find the investors?
Yeah, because I would say find the deal first. I know a lot of people say go out and find the investors. Yes, you still need to be networking and finding investors, but if I came down here, if I went outside and there was a 2019 S550 Mercedes and I told you I wanted to sell it to you for $30,000 and you were not in the market for a car, you're gonna buy that thing from me or you're gonna go find the money or somebody else that wants to buy it, right? Right, so having something that is actually a deal is the main thing, right? There's people out there all the time that need the money, need to spend the money.
Yeah, focus on the deal.
Focus on the deal. Because
People jump in this and they're, trying to figure out everything. Talk to sellers every single day.
What'd you say? Focus on deal.
And make sure you get a deal.
I've been teaching that for years to focus on the deal.
So we all on the same. Oh, we said something together, y'all.
I've been teaching that for years.
There you go.
Find a deal, especially in this market. Back when I first heard Mr. Robertson speak, it was in a recession, and he came to the RIA hired him to come to Charlotte to speak. However, at that time, it was easier to find the sellers and extremely hard to find the buyers because if you turn to the TV, it was stay away from real estate, stay away from real estate, etc. However, now you can hit a rock and find a buyer.
Yeah, the way the market's swinging right now,
you can,
when the market's up like it is right this second, don't focus your energy on who is my buyer, da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
Make sure you get a good deal, make sure the numbers work, make sure your ARV is tight, you comped it properly, and you'll be fine. I mean, there's buyers everywhere.
Who in here is a cash buyer? Any cash buyers here tonight? So we got 2, 3. We got 3 cash buyers.
So after the meeting, raise your hand if you're a cash buyer. Keep it up for just a, so whoever's a wholesaler, go after the meeting, talk to people, ask them if they have a card, and if you're ask them what areas they're finding deals for. So I'm a cash buyer in Mecklenburg County. So if you tell me, hey, I got a property in Greensboro, I'm not interested. But if you have something in Mecklenburg County, I'm definitely interested. So, talk to these guys and ask them like, where do you buy properties at? Me personally, I don't buy all over just for the sake of buying properties.
No.
I buy in Mecklenburg County because that's where I'm at and that's where I feel comfortable at.
And
I
pull
buy in
that-
Forsyth and some parts of Guilford.
Yeah, pull that, you get a deal, pull a cash buyers list on PropStream, list source, build a radius around the property, pull a cash buyers list, you skip trace that list, and start marketing your deal to those cash buyers. You already know they purchase in that area, right? So they potentially would be interested in a property you've got in that location. I love selling deals to realtors. You can pinpoint a deal that you got under contract. If you don't have MLS access, find a realtor that does. Have them pinpoint deals that have sold for cash within a mile, right? And you start calling those agents. That agent information is publicly available, right? You start calling those agents.
How many licensed agents are in here now? 1, 2.
So you got 2 agents right
3.
there. 3, right? You find a deal, you go to one of these 3 folks, and you say, hey, I've got a deal, I'm looking to sell a contract at X123 Main Street. Could you tell me every cash sale within a mile of this property in the last 6 to 12 months, right? They send you that information. It's gonna have the realtor's information, who's the selling agent on those other deals. And you call them on the phone and tell them you got a deal, and you tell them you're willing to pay their commission on that deal also. Hey, I'm looking to sell this contract for $60,000. You're more than welcome to put your 3% on top of it and take it to your buyer, see if they're interested.
And that's good he said that. He just simplified it, like literally. So back in 2011, that's literally how I found my first buyer. So, and I did my first wholesale deal. So I found the deal. I knew from my local RIA, I knew a realtor. I said, hey, can you send me the cash transactions for the houses 30,000 and below? Because the house I was selling, I was trying to sell it for like 20, 25,000, whatever the case may be. And he sent me that list. I then made a flyer. So this is old school. This ain't old school Mr. Robinson. Mr. Robinson, he told the story I read. He started off See, I grew up in the 90s.
Start off a penny saver.
I grew up in the 90s, and back in the 90s, they had these things called newspapers. And it was like, it was physical. They used to come to your house. And I remember he saying he used to use that as a market strategy. But anyway, so back in 2011, I had got the listed cash buys for houses 30,000 below because I had a cheap house, which was ultimately a rental. It's like, it wasn't a fix and flip, it was a rental. So I wanted to go after buyers who buy rentals. I then made a flyer. Okay, for me making this flyer, I then went on my real estate lookup for Charlotte, or Mecklenburg County rather, the real estate lookup, and I seen who bought that property. And I mailed that person a letter. And that's how I found my buyer. End up selling the house for, I had to get a reduction, but end up selling the house for like $13,000. Today that house is probably worth at minimum as is like 150, 140, but hey, you know.
Don't cry.
Yeah, right. But anyway, what CJ just said is much more simple. Just pick up the phone and just call a realtor and say, hey, look, I got a cash buyer. Those realtors would be more than happy to help you because they know that adding value to their go-to investors, well, they either going to get a commission or a listing agreement, or it's just long-term business for them. So yes, that's a great way and much easier.
So what we do, right, because we do a lot of virtual transactions, like 99 actual state. We sit there and lock something up and say, okay, and sit back and go to a database called Cash Buyer Data Feed, and instantly put in our criteria right then and there, and then spit out everybody who's buying at that particular criteria.
It gives you phone numbers too, right?
They give you phone numbers, but they're not as good, so we skip tracing manually.
Yeah.
But if you want to start in a new market and say, for example, you just want to get an idea where the buyer's at, Cash Buyer Data Feed have a heat map inside there, and then you literally can go into the different subdivisions. Because most investors don't understand that you got to get real granular when you're doing deals. You got to know the subdivision. So like if I was going to PG County, Maryland, I need to know, okay, who's buying what in Capitol Heights, Maryland, at what price point. And in my sleep, I know I can spit out an offer and be comfortable with it because I know who's buying it at that price point. And literally our last 2 days was sold in 24 hours.
And you're gonna build your buyers list naturally that way over time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So who else is having?
Yes, they all used to use $500,000, $600,000 property. So when we're getting $100,000 to $13,000, it sounds like, oh my God.
Yeah, you're coming from Cali, man. So you gotta get that.
Yeah, you gotta get those prices. Yeah, those prices is done. I mean, but that's a great deal. It's on the outskirts of Charlotte. It's an excellent deal. His is better because everything he does is better than mine. I told God in the beginning. You know what I mean? I said in the beginning. I was honest.
So who's having trouble just getting started? Right?
Who hasn't done
like,
the first
be honest,
deal
this
yet?
is like a room of no judgment.
Yeah.
Why? Why are you having trouble getting started?
Analysis paralysis.
Well, you know how to fix that.
Talk to sellers.
Taking action, right?
Take action.
So I just don't know if you guys, I just recorded this podcast. I was in New York 2 days ago recording this podcast with these guys, right? Yeah. You know where they recorded this podcast at?
In the warehouse.
Was it in the green room?
In their mom's house in the dining room.
Oh, really?
They got the top 10 podcasts in the world.
Wow.
And they recorded in the dining room. That's called taking imperfect action. I was sitting there talking to them. They was like, yo, we didn't know how to run none of this stuff we got. Right? Like Dave had to set their cameras for them when we got there. So the point that I'm making is they just took action. They took imperfect action and they just did it. So the problem, most people just want to get things done, like want to know everything before it gets done. You want to know from the beginning to the end. No, that's not how this works.
Sometimes you gotta.
You know you need to find a property that's deeply discounted. Go do it.
Yeah, for me, my main thing is I believe integrity means more than anything.
Correct.
Right? Because the brand that's associated with you and your name is going to carry you a lot further than you just making profits for that one specific.
Yeah.
So along the lines of I think Nasir was saying that people before profits.
Yeah.
So I'm along those same lines. So I think if I can know the rules that I'm operating within, and I can make sure that I'm being fair to the people on the other side of the deal, and I'm being fair to myself.
Just go with your gut feeling. It's not something that is written in stone that says you have to offer this, blah, 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 blah. Go with your gut feeling. If you wouldn't do it to your mother, you wouldn't do it to your grandmother, don't do it.
Yeah.
That's it. Now go out and do it.
Yeah, no question.
Right. Who else is having problems getting started? Because that's what I want to tackle is people. Yes, sir.
Okay, so there's this one house nearby here that I already took pictures and everything. Cause see, in the morning I work at Hagen Air, and this house was right beside it.
Yeah, so you get to see a lot of properties in it.
I was listening to one of your podcasts when I saw that house. But okay, so I found the house and everything, and I know I had to find who's the owner. But then after that, like, do I need a lawyer too, or?
No, so you're skipping to so many steps, right? So once you identify a house, you're like, oh my God, you go over there, you're fixing heat in there, you look over and it's all grown up, you're like, yo, this is a great house. Did you go home and you put the information in the computer and find out the owner?
No.
Have you found the owner yet?
No, I haven't looked at for him yet.
All right, cool. So what you need to do is you can either download the app called Deal Machine, or you can write down the address. What county was this in?
Forsyth.
Right, so you're gonna type in Forsyth County Geodata or Forsyth County GIS. Make sure you put North Carolina because sometimes Georgia comes up, right? And then you're just gonna type in the address of the property. And what you're looking for is you're gonna type it into the tax. So every property in America is owned by somebody or something, right? So every property has a PIN, a parcel identification number. You're gonna put that address into the county record where the taxes are, and you're gonna see the owner listed on record. Now, once you have that, you need to then find how you can get a hold of that person. So in order to skip some of those steps for you, I would say download an app called Deal Machine. Now, you can do the most basic, if you use the code MAX, if you use MAX, you get 30 days free. Right, so download that, use the code MAX, you're gonna get 30 days free. I wouldn't even say send the postcards. The reason why I like Deal Machine is because in your job too, especially, you're probably doing what, a couple houses a day? Yeah, so you're in and out of neighborhoods. So if you see something, you can use the app, pinpoint it, snap the picture, and it's gonna tell you the owner right there. And you're gonna have a picture. So then all you gotta do is get that owner's information. Now you can do it right there on the app and pay for it. It's a little bit expensive, so you might wanna go somewhere else to find that, right? I own a company called REI Skip, you can do it for 15 cents. So right, for 15 cents, right? So for less than a Star Crunch, y'all know Star Crunches?
Yeah, it's my favorite.
All right, back then, 25 cents. So for less than a Star Crunch, you can get somebody's number, right? And then you're just gonna call them, right? So how many people are having problems on the phone? Everybody's good on the phone? You having problems on the phone? Tell me why.
They bluffing tonight.
Yeah, I don't believe that.
Tell me why.
I don't feel confident.
In your knowledge, or just speaking to people in
In
general?
my knowledge, even though I've been listening to podcasts and all you guys for like 2-3 months now.
Okay, cool. So let's role play. Let's role play a conversation right now. You ready? But you know, I'm gonna call you. So this is gonna be easy. And what's your name?
Yeah, you're the seller.
Yeah, you're the seller. What's your name?
Rima.
Rima. All right, you ready? Ring, ring, ring. Ring, ring. I'm calling you. You ready?
I'm the seller, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you the seller.
Okay.
It's your house. So I'm calling your cell phone. Ring, ring, ring.
Yo.
Hold on, you should got me shook. All right, we do this again. Ring, ring, ring.
Hello.
Hey, Rima, this is Max. How you doing?
I'm good.
You probably playing this for real. Hey, this is Max. How you doing?
I'm good.
So I was driving in the neighborhood and I seen that you may own a property on 123 Main Street. Are you interested in maybe getting a cash offer on that property?
Depends on what the offer is.
Okay, well that's fair enough. Well, let me tell you a little bit about myself before I get into it. So I'm a local I'm a local investor, and I work with other investors, and we buy about maybe 7 or 10 houses a month, right? So we're in this area, we love this area. We're just looking to see if we can buy more property. And if you're interested in receiving a cash offer, I can ask you a couple questions to make this easier.
Okay, that'll work.
Cool. So is this a primary residence that you have, or is this a rental property for you?
I'm renting out right now.
Okay, cool. So how long have you had it rented?
About 2 years.
Okay, and tenants are paying pretty well?
Not really.
Not really. I know. I hate that sucks. I have a few properties myself, and they just, sometimes they pay, sometimes they don't. So what kind of rent are you getting in there?
About $800 a month.
Okay, cool. So let me tell you mainly what we're buying. We're buying for mainly 2 reasons. One is we're going to buy a property, fix it up a little bit, and then we're going to maybe turn it into a rental property. But it seems like you already have it as a rental property, right?
Right.
Well, the second thing we do is we buy a property and we go gangbusters. You ever watch that TV show HGTV?
Yes.
Yeah, so we go all the way out. So we put new roof, kitchen, counter, bathrooms, everything, and then we try to sell it within 6 months. So that's kind of our business model. What do you think this property is best for?
Rental.
A rental, cool. So when is the last time you done some updates on the property?
About 5 years ago.
5 years ago, okay. So, listen, You're getting about 800. You haven't done renovations. When's the last time you've been in the property?
2 years now.
2 years ago, okay. So you think your tenants have treated the property well since you've been in there?
They don't pay on time, so probably not.
Probably not. Okay, cool. So when does that lease expire?
They only get month-to-month lease now.
Month to month. Okay, so if I can maybe give you a cash offer and just kind of take over these tenants and the property, would you be interested in that?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. So, maybe, if I would just offer you cash right now, what would it take for you to just walk away from the property?
Oh, I have to think about that.
Have to think about it? Yeah. Well, how long ago did you have buy this property?
I inherited it.
You inherited it, okay. So, I'd love to buy every property that I run across, and maybe I can't buy this one. Have you thought about, maybe getting an attorney, getting them out, and then fixing the property up and listing it?
I haven't because I don't want to do that work.
You don't want to do the work, yeah. I understand, if you're really not in this business full time, sometimes it's hard to deal with contractors, and it's a pain in the butt sometimes. So maybe if we can come to an agreement on a number, and I don't know what the number is now because I'm just giving you a call to see if you're interested. If you threw out a number, I can maybe get back to you in a very short amount of time to see if it's something we can possibly do. Do you have even the slightest idea, maybe a range of where you want to start at?
About 140.
140, okay. So 140 doesn't sound too bad. We may be a little bit far apart, but it's something I think we could work on. Right, so where do you get that 140 number from?
Zillow.
Zillow, oh wow. Good, yeah, so the cool thing about Zillow is Zillow doesn't really know what the inside of your house looks like. And they're really not buying properties. So Zillow is not really the most accurate information. Right, and I told you in the beginning that I'm an investor, so I kind of buy it at a good price, and I have to do some renovations to make it good. So I get you at 140. Here's what I'm going to do. Let me do some research. Is this a good number I can get you back on?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to do some research. Give me a couple hours, and I'm going to give you a call back and maybe see where we're going to be at on this property. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
Perfect. So what I did is I established a relationship with her. I got as much information that I can. Now the first conversation doesn't even have to go that deep.
Well, I had a question.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
So my question first is the cash offer over the phone. I thought that you want to get in front of the person.
I never made an offer. I just want her.
No, you asking me for my price.
Yeah.
So do you discuss price on the phone or not?
If I feel like I've developed enough rapport on the phone with you, if you're willing to just throw it out there, I'm gonna at least try it once or twice.
Right now he's just trying to box you in.
Yeah.
So when he comes to anchor him, so when he comes to you, he gonna throw all that against you.
Yeah. So now when I get to the house, I'm gonna use that number in a reverse manner towards you. Right? So I need to know what I did was I anchored you. I know you're at 140. Right? And then I knew where you got your information from. So when I get to the house, I'm gonna use both of those against you. Right? Makes sense?
Yes.
But the first thing is you just need to establish as a newbie, you just need to establish that they want to sell. And that if they want to sell, when is a good time I can see the property? Because I bet once you get face to face, you're gonna be good.
I don't know.
You don't know altogether. But I promise you, once you get to face and you see this just a normal person, you're gonna start getting better. Yeah. And then before you get to that property, you're gonna be running comps. Now let's just say you actually need to be at 85 and she's at 140. That's a big difference, right? Right? How do you think I'm gonna narrow that gap?
Well, we gotta make it to HGTV standards. Your 140 was based on Zillow. That's not accurate. The roof is, you got a couple issues in the house. Could you not point those out? Correct.
Right? I'm not going to go right at her and just point that out, but I'm going to start narrowing that in and say, well, what do you think that costs to fix? And that. Okay, and that. Okay, cool. You came together. So you're saying it needs about $60,000 in work. So you still think I should maybe pay 140? Right?
I have one more question.
Yeah, sure. You got all the questions. We got time.
For example, during a walkthrough, and you looked at the comps, and the comps are about, let's just say, 80,000. But then you see that the roof is leaking or the floor is leaning. How do you guesstimate those repairs?
Yeah, so that's something we every month we hit on when we come here, is how do you guess the repairs of something, right? I've never been real granular when it comes to like repairs in general. I ballpark it. And I've been able to ballpark it pretty good now these days.
Right.
I know, first of all, there's no such thing as a $10,000 rehab. Ain't never happened ever.
Literally.
Nope.
Even on my light flips, I can't get a $10,000 rehab. Right, so I'm looking at, I'm either gonna be 20, 30, 40, or it's a gut job. Right, and that's pretty simple, and I know I need to be in that range. And what I'm always doing is I am always going for the higher number. Because right now, let's just say if you wanted to get your bathroom redone, where would you go look for people?
Angie's List.
Okay, Angie's List and Google and stuff. That's what most Americans do. So they're gonna pay those prices, right? I know I don't pay those prices. I know my flippers don't pay those prices, right? So we're not gonna, that's fine. I'm gonna go off your number because of the knowledge you have. Oh, that bathroom probably $8 grand. Cool, you got 3 bathrooms. That kitchen, well, how much you did that kitchen? Probably 40, 25. Ain't no kitchen costs 20. Well, you can do a $25,000 kitchen, but not on a rehab. So you start using those numbers. So you're saying the house is worth, you wanted 140, but you're saying it's 60 grand in repairs. So let's just say it is 60 grand in repairs. It might be a little bit more, but we'll go with your number. So if I take 60 off of 140, I'm at what? 80. So I'm at 80,000. I haven't made a dime yet. And unfortunately, we're not a nonprofit organization. Right. I love saying that line. I like that. Right? So if we can come in somewhere about 72, I think we can get this done. But here's a good thing. This is like a cash closing. I can get you the cash, you walk away, and I'll deal with the tenants. Right? So what I'm doing is, reason why I'm going back to that, because on the initial conversation, you told me your pain points. You inherited this property, so you never really intended to be a landlord. You had them in there for 2 years, they don't pay on time. You hate it so much you haven't been there in 2 years. Right? So now I'm using that pain point, I'm solving her problem. Right? And because I am solving her problem, I don't feel bad that I'm offering you $70,000 for the property. Right? Because I really do have to do work and I really have to go deal with those tenants. So there's nothing wrong with me and I feel my gut stomach is fine. Now, is the true value, could the true as-is value if somebody came out there with an appraiser and said, oh, it's worth 90,000 at a current value and I gave you 72, would I feel bad? No, because that appraiser's not gonna put their money down.
Nope.
They're not gonna do the rehab I'm gonna do, and they don't have to deal with the tenants.
And not only that appraiser, that 90,000 is for if you put it on MLS. So if you put it on MLS, you're gonna have some subsidies you gotta pay out because it's as is. When that home inspection come back, you're gonna get tore. They're gonna ask for $10,000 out the gate.
There's a value. I do full rehabs on houses and have a checklist of 5 pages. Right, so there's a value to when you can purchase something for cash. And everybody knows that. And when you can, and most houses that we're buying are non-financeable.
Right.
The bank will not loan money on these properties because they're in so much distress. So I really see that we're out there solving a problem.
There's value in speed too.
And then there's value in speed. Absolutely. So I hope that made you easier, but the basic things that you need to be asking, one, you see what I did originally, right? I didn't ask for your name. What's your name again? Sorry? Rima. I didn't say, hey, is this Rima? Because if somebody calls you and say, hey, is this Rima, that means they don't know your voice.
Yep.
And you're going to hang up on them or you're going to put up that wall of non-trust. Right. I said, hey, Rima, it's Max. Right. So you probably on the other line thinking, I should probably know him. Hey, Max, but you really don't know me, but you don't want to offend me by saying, who are you? So I broke down that barrier very quickly, right? So do that, and then just ask, say, hey, I was in a neighborhood. I think you may own a house on 123 Main Street, and I'm just wondering if you're interested in a cash offer. I'm a local investor. Yes, no, F you. You're going to get all those things, but eventually you're going to get some yeses that's going to lead to solving some problems.
I'll say too, you know, like I've dealt with students before where they have this fear of like trying to sound like a big company.
Yeah, I don't. I do the opposite.
Yeah, just be the regular person that's looking to buy a house in the neighborhood. And a lot of people get hung up on seller appointments or talking to sellers by phone because they feel they got to present this, you know, this thing.
This crazy, beautiful package.
Right. It's okay to mess up in the conversation, not say the right thing. It's okay.
It's okay to say you have a job.
Right.
Like a regular job.
People who have jobs buy houses.
Yeah, all the time. Majority of the people do.
Right. So don't feel pressure on the phone to confine to like a certain way to get it done. You slip up on the phone, you recorrect it, you make sure you pull the pain point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And once you find that pain point, you just figure out how you can provide that solution to the seller and you're good.
And that script is something I really use. And the reason why, if you over the time, I've set that script up because I'm setting the expectation with the seller. If you notice, I said I work with a group of investors. And why is that important? Because if I need to bring 3 other people to the house when I get on the contract, guess who they are? My group of investors. Right? I use the line all the time that I meet every Thursday with my investors. So yeah, I'll get the property and I'll talk to my investors on this Thursday and we'll sit around and see if I want to buy it, if Chris wants to buy it, if Naz wants to buy it. And it's not lying. Yeah. I literally do have a group of investors I work with. They're my buyers. So I'm always setting that expectation with the customer so that I can answer, because I know the common rebuttals that are going to happen down the road. So now I'm setting it up. Like, so why are you bringing 3 people to the house? Oh, you don't remember when we talked the first time I said I work with a group of investors? Oh yeah, that's right. So I know that rebuttal's coming, so I need to know how to handle it. I think you had your hand back up.
So what do you have?
You do.
You got all the people in the room.
I just said I was one a cash buyer. Mr. Robinson's a cash buyer. He said he's a cash buyer. Right? You call me and it's a good deal, I'm gonna buy it. So there you go. There goes your group.
But don't put bad deals on the contract.
Yeah.
Don't do that either.
Yeah, don't do it so you can say, hey, I got a deal, y'all like my post.
Yeah.
Do it because it makes sense for you to close on it, right?
I like my Facebook post.
You know, don't put yourself in a terrible situation where you got to keep constantly canceling contracts. Because that's why now we're about to get regulated because Miss Susan, 2 weeks from actually their house being foreclosed on, and you done lied and told us some things and now you can't close.
Yeah.
All right, first, let me say one thing. For those, Max just went over an example of talking with a seller. Who wants more help and more practice with that? Raise your hand. Okay, great. You guys are all perfect. You can all leave. But no, for the rest of you people, who want more practice and everything, if you go to Max's YouTube channel, he has multiple videos talking with sellers, and you can literally train your people with those videos.
Exactly. That's what I be doing.
You literally send his video and train yourself or train those people, because in his videos, what he does, he breaks down these steps. You see live examples, etc. So, and that's how he got so good at it, because he practiced. So if you practice, you can be just as good as he was. When I first got started, Rima, I used to go to properties with my mentor because I was nervous. I just did something. She would come to my appointments and I would just watch her, you know. But I was fortunate enough to get a mentor in this business and somebody who was able to go to appointments with me. Now, being that the market is great, everybody's busy, so you can't go to you might have to go to the appointments by yourself. But you're gonna get better with time, and practice makes perfect.
Yeah.
Make sure you record your calls, right? You go on an appointment, throw a voice recorder in your pocket and record that conversation, that interaction with that seller while you're on that appointment. And, it's like, when you play sports, you watch film, right?
Yeah, I call it the film room.
Right. So you gotta find your film room. Go in your film room and you go back and you listen to these conversations, you listen to your seller appointments and figure out what you didn't do right. And then just fix it on the next appointment. Don't get stuck on, I didn't get this deal, this didn't work out. That's cool. There's a whole bunch of sellers, right?
You can fix it.
You can fix it. Just go in the film room and then fix it when you get to the next game, next appointment.
And like I tell my team, get used to hearing the word no. Get used to rejection. The more no's you get, that means you're getting closer to the yes. So just keep pushing, keep trying. You might go on 20 seller appointments and fail at all 20, but the 21st one, you get to a $20,000 deal. So don't quit. The holidays are here, and this is the time where people give up, they quit. The fat man Santa Claus want the money, they don't want to pay the subscription. Guys, keep pushing forward, because what you're doing is you're setting up an alley hoop for 2020. The first and second quarter, all the people you've been calling, working on, they finally gonna come back around. We just locked up a deal where we was working with this seller for like 6 months. I ended up going live on Facebook just a little bit, and every big box hotel in town inboxed me like, how you get him to sign? I'm like, guys, you gotta nurture people, you gotta treat people like humans, and you gotta respect people and their time and their wishes, and just politely follow up. You don't have to be this aggressive salesperson, guys. Remember, if you got your pipeline built, you can be nonchalant like him, nonchalant like me, and say, okay, talk to you next week. Happy holidays. I just wanted to call and check on you. You don't even have to mention the property. They're going to remember that. So when it's time for them to really sign, they'll pick you.
I'm a believer this business is a business of rhythm and momentum. So, but you got to create that for yourself, right? And that starts with, somebody said earlier they had trouble with being consistent. I think it was my magician guy in the back, all right? So as you create consistency in your life and inside of your business, that's how you start to develop that rhythm. And with the rhythm, you start to create momentum. And when that starts to happen, that's when you truly start to have impact inside of your business. It took me a long time to do my first deal because I wasn't being consistent, right? Once you start to get consistent, I promise you that momentum will start to come. You hit that first deal. Make sure that you followed your principles to get you to that point. You made sure you were going back and listening to your seller conversations. You never stop doing that, right? You don't stop doing that when you do your first deal. You consistently continue to do that. You just constantly get better over and over.
That's it. You're going to get better over and over. Back in 2011, I want to say before I did my first deal, I was new to the business. I want to say the worst, and I remember this because I was newer and I was in the beginning. Now, you know, I get cussed out, it doesn't matter. But somebody left me a voicemail and told me to get on your effing camel and go back to your country, and no, I'm not selling your camel riding behind, but they didn't use behind, but I'm not selling your camel riding behind my house. Now, F off. All right? Okay? So he left us in the voicemail.
Is that a no?
Sure.
Those are the only no's I listen to.
So,
right?
Fortunately, I had like-minded people around me. I passed that around, we all laughed. First of all, I couldn't afford the camel. You know? They told me, go back to my country. I mean, my great-great-great-grandparents was here. You know, I'm American, you know. I mean, the government considers me African-American, but I'm here. And fast forward, I now have a 7-figure business. So I mentioned that because the worst thing that's going to happen is somebody's going to say some bad words to you. That's it.
That's it.
Just keep
And
the words.
they don't mean anything.
Just words.
Just words.
The person doesn't know you.
I've had somebody cuss me out and then sell me their house.
Me too, right?
I mean, bad.
And you're dealing with motivated sellers a lot of times if you're marketing right. So you don't know what somebody's been through, you don't know what their day was like, you don't know what happened to them at work, right? We all got shit going on, right? So you can't take offense to things that sellers say to you. It's just dealing with stuff. And the good deals happen when you work through those issues with that seller, let them vent to you, let them get those things off their chest, and then you identify that pain point and you help be a problem solver and create a solution for them.
I don't know, Shannon left, but she gets cussed out a lot, right? But yeah, and through and then my nephew, he's my text messenger, he gets cussed out a lot through text message. But Shannon gets into a lot of arguments with people that we end up buying their house. I mean, like cold, just some nasty stuff. And we end up still buying their house. We just bought one on Main Street. She cut Shannon up and down. You know,
I believe it. Another good thing too is, so I think Max, you said earlier, create your network.
Yeah.
When you got a network, a lot of times, I'll go on an appointment, look at a piece of property, and everybody's not going to identify with everybody. So I might talk to a seller, they might not like me, they might not like my personality, but I can call Mark who's in the back, right? I can call Mark and say, Mark, I need you to go take a look at this property for me. Call the seller. He doesn't have to say that he knows me and that he knows our conversation, right? So now Mark can go call that seller, re-engage the conversation. That seller may now identify more better with Mark, and he might be able to bridge that and create that rapport, and we're still closing the deal. Now it's a JV opportunity, right? So, everybody you meet, every seller you talk to is not going to click with you. That's just like how life works. And so that's why your network is key and how you create your relationships, and you got to start to work together to get stuff done.
So I really wanted to drill down on helping people that hasn't got the deal. I see a lot of new people every month, and I want to see more repeat customers, more repeat people come back together. And don't be afraid to network with each other. A lot of us live in the same city, county. Y'all should be, it's Thursday, Tuesday, y'all should be hanging out at Starbucks, going over cold golf.
Listening to each other's cold calls.
When I got started 3 years ago, there was none of this. We had to invent this. There was not this at all. Like, so go out and just, y'all are not competition, I promise y'all. Right? So y'all need to be talking to each other and doing stuff outside of this once a month. I promise you, you'll love this business a lot more when you start hanging around like-minded people. These are my people. These are who I hang out with. Mr. Robinson and Pam back there. These is who I hang out with because we all in the same business. We go eat together, we go drink together, we go to trap karaoke together.
Yeah, we're done.
So we have fun together. Y'all need to be able to create that same thing. So I appreciate everybody coming here. I know you got to run because you're going to Vegas, and a lot of us got to get out of here. So I appreciate everybody coming. Remember, the 30-day challenge that I'm doing is absolutely free. It's on my Facebook. We're in day 21, but you can go back and watch every single video and do exactly what I say. And I promise you, there's been people by day 15 say they got their deal already.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just go out there and do it. Keep it simple. Don't let analysis paralysis get you. And I'll see you guys next month. Have a great Turkey Day, Thanksgiving, whatever you guys are doing. And be safe. I appreciate you guys.